ACC play is in the air in South Bend, but first, number 24 Notre Dame closes out the non-conference season by welcoming St. Peter's to town. Welcome to the Joyce Center. Glad to have you with us alongside Nick Valdesari, Mike Monaco, and Nick. Tonight it's a clash of styles. Notre Dame, one of the best teams in the nation offensively, and St. Peter's very good defensively, and they want to slow it down.
Yeah, you bet, Mike. This St. Peter's team allows the fewest points in their conference. Well, they got their hands full tonight with the Fighting Irish team that is ranked third in offensive efficiency. It's
a veteran St. Peter's team with high hopes in the Metro Atlantic Conference. They look to their leader, Quadir Welton, a force on the inside. The senior from Philly, averaging 14 points and nearly 9 boards a game.
Yeah, the Peacocks often starts and ends with Quadir Welton, a huge presence inside. Very impressive outing last time out, 17 points and 14 boards.
Big matchup in the interior because Bonzi Colson is averaging a double-double for Notre Dame, and he's one of the most efficient players in the nation.
Yeah, and he gives up 3 inches to Quadir Welton, but that 7'2" wingspan brings him back in. A great defensive presence down low. Look for him on the offensive side to be in the high post and on the block.
And as we check out our starting lineups, it had been the same starting group through the first 11 games for St. Peter's, but tonight a shakeup. Sharpshooter Nick Griffin makes his first start in a Peacocks uniform, in for Antoine Portley, and on the Notre Dame side, Bonzi Colson, Matt Farrell, the stud juniors, VJ Beecham, Steve Vastoria looking to pick it up heading into ACC play.
Yeah, an interesting change there by St. Peter's to put Nick Griffin in. Maybe the Peacocks want to get off to a hot shooting start to stay in this one. And basketball here in South Bend underway.
Tony Green, Joe Lindsay, and Ed Corbett, our officiating crew. St. Peter's in the navy blue on the road, and we're underway. The Peacocks at 5-6 overall, and they've actually already played a couple of conference games out of the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference back in early December. Coming off a win on Friday against St. Francis Brooklyn as Bonzi Colson forces the turnover.
And immediately that 7'2" wingspan, see it in full effect on that steal by Bonzi.
And Notre Dame, as we said at the top, one of the best teams in the country offensively. 7th in the nation in offensive efficiency, and that's an open look for VJ Beecham.
And the Irish are going to take that look all day long. You saw the beautiful pass from Bonzi after getting double-teamed. The story over to Beecham. That shot is going to go down most times.
St. Peter's plays at a very slow pace, the slowest pace, in fact, in all the conference. Not a very good shooting team, but that's a fast start from beyond the arc for the Peacocks. Nnamdi Anechi-Onya, a redshirt junior from Springfield, Virginia. He stays with Colson, who dishes it off for Beecham with a nice baseline floater.
Yeah, Beecham's gotten really good at this season. Be able to take that dribble inside from the perimeter, put that little floater up, get the Irish back within 1.
And Anechi-Onya tries another triple. That's short. Beecham the board.
Yeah, this is a Peacocks offense that struggles to shoot the ball, but when they do, their defense can keep them into games. That's how they win.
And Martinez Gebbin, the big man, draws a foul in the post. There's a look at the head coach at St. Peter's, John Dunn, in his 11th season in Jersey City, originally from Queens. Played his college ball at Ithaca, and he's got a veteran squad looking to make some noise in the Metro Atlantic. Notre Dame at 10-2 overall. Moved up a spot to 24 in the polls as Steve Vastoria will head to the stripe for 2.
And Steve Vastoria, where he's done most of his work this season, heading to that free throw line, shooting 94%.
Very good free throw shooting team for Mike Bray in his 17th season in South Bend.
Can't say enough about head coach Mike Bray. Really instilled a program here, back-to-back Elite Eights, looking to make it back to that postseason and make a further run this year.
A rare miss for Vastoria, the senior from Medford, New Jersey. He's trying to get going after a couple of slower outings against Purdue and against Colgate last Monday.
And even with those slow starts, Vastoria has had career numbers in scoring and rebounding. And as a senior now, has improved every season, as we've heard Mike Bray allude to many times this season.
Here's Travis Weish on the drive, and he gets the roll, taking it to the rack.
Weish is so productive at, off the dribble, especially finding the lane, and even if not scoring, finding his teammates on the perimeter. A nice play there to finish that one.
Now, one of two guys, John Dunn, really wants to build off that last performance. Him and Quadir Welton. Another open look for V.J. Beecham.
Beecham, who struggled in those 2 games against Purdue and Villanova, had a great bounce back against Colgate. Off to a good start here. When he's aggressive, especially out of the gate, that's when the Irish offense gets rolling.
He made 6 threes against Colgate. Chaz Patterson got free but walked.
The Notre Dame team that forces over 13 turnovers a game. You saw one right there. It looked like Patterson just took an extra step, was a little hesitant, and that's what caused the travel.
Here's Matt Farrell, the junior guard who's having a breakout season. Vastoria on the handoff from Gebben. Bonzi Colson, a double-double threat with a floater of his own.
Why not? That's a spin move, floater on the baseline. Gets the Irish up 3.
Here's Nick Griffin, great shooter, hitting 44% from beyond the arc. Now Welton in low, and Colson blocked it. Farrell, cross court for Colson. That's a 3, and it rattles out.
I don't mind Colson taking that. He's shooting threes a lot more this season. Started off very hot. He's 0 for 7 in his last 7 threes, but trying to get back into that form from the perimeter. You trust him taking those shots and the work he's put in over the offseason.
Nick Griffin with an entry into Welton. Turns to the baseline and goes off glass for 2.
That's what he does. He loves that low post. We saw him on the left one on the last possession, was unable to finish there, but here you just see the little spin move, a little hesitation with the shoulders, and a nice kisser off the glass.
Yeah, senior from Philly who's closing in on 1,000 points for his career. Farrell hangs in the air, and Patterson's got it for St. Peter's, down by 1.
Immediately see Patterson there slowing the break down. It was a fast break opportunity. This St. Peter's team likes to slow things down, get in that half-court system. You're seeing a lot of motion, a lot of movement from all 5 players so far.
Welton hands it back for Travis Weish, the number 2 scorer. Nick Griffin from straightaway, off the mark, and Gebben squeezes it.
Good defensive possession from Notre Dame there. St. Peter's found an open look for Griffin, just unable to knock it down.
Colson into the paint, the dump down for Gebben.
You mentioned Matt Farrell, one of more improved players. Gebben, another one who has stepped in that starting role, started all 13 games now, and his touch around the rim has been so key for this Notre Dame team, and his body presence as well on the defensive and offensive side.
Gebben matched up with Welton, who gets the bounce falling away.
That's something St. Peter's should keep doing. Give it down to him, and you saw him there take it from the high post even and work his magic. Welton looking for another big-time performance.
Farrell couldn't get it baseline from Gebben. Patterson pried it away, and here's St. Peter's looking for the lead. And Gebben and Colson met Patterson. Farrell in transition, takes it himself.
Great play overall. Gebben coming back from behind, getting that block. That led to a transition bucket from Farrell, who's been so dangerous in fast break opportunities. Finish that one off there.
Welton posting up on Gebben. Mamadou Njai, 15 in blue, sets the screen. Welton again, similar move, and Vastoria's got it for the Irish. V.J. Beecham, that's a deep 3.
And V.J. filling it up early. How about that one? A couple feet outside the 3-point arc. Irish out to their largest lead.
Mike Bray said he felt very good about the rhythm that V.J. Beecham got in against Colgate with those 6 triples, and it's continued so far.
Yeah, he's showing that through his aggression, not afraid to take that shot. Irish off their 6 for 9 start already offensively, thanks to Beecham.
Njai adjusting, follows his own miss. Now Welton, and it's off of St. Peter's. So Notre Dame opens up a 6-point lead early on St. Peter's, thanks in large part to the sniper, VJ Beecham, and the Irish up 15-9. Notre Dame is so good offensively, you can't give them any extra open looks. So far, VJ Beecham's had good looks at everything, and he's got 8 for the Irish.
Yeah, he certainly has. Notre Dame off that 6 for 9 shooting start, just hot. And there you see VJ Beecham, 3 of 4, 2 from deep. And if you're St. Peter's on the defensive side, you can't allow him, even coming up the court in a half-court set, to line up for a 3. He did to end that last possession.
Beecham and Vastoria still out there as Mike Bray goes to the bench for the first time tonight. TJ Gibbs, the talented freshman guard, sends it to Rex Pfluger on the baseline.
And Pfluger having a terrific sophomore campaign, shooting nearly 50% from the field. And of course, we know his 0 turnovers in over 210 minutes played.
All that to go along with his customarily good defense for Mike Bray, as the Irish stretch the lead out to 8. There's Sam Idowu, backup big man for St. Peter's, and he hands it off to Antoine Portley, coming off the bench for the first time this season. He hoists, and he's well off the mark.
And Notre Dame will live with those shots, hand in the face.
VJ Beecham in rhythm, and he's fouled on the three-point try. So Beecham going to the line for 3 when we come back to Purcell Pavilion, where number 24 Notre Dame up 8. Final tune-up for Notre Dame before ACC play starts on Saturday, and the number 24 Fighting Irish have an 8-point lead on St. Peter's. Mike Bray, boy, he's got a tough start for his team in ACC play. They go to Pittsburgh on Saturday, and then they host Louisville here at Purcell Pavilion a week from today.
Well, ACC's never easy. Might as well get some of those hard games out in the beginning, but you mentioned it. Pittsburgh and Louisville to start things off. Of course, 2 teams they played in the Big East as well.
3 shots coming for VJ Beecham, who was fouled by Nnamdi Anechionia right before the timeout. And Beecham, an excellent foul shooter at 83%. And this Notre Dame team, the best free throw shooting team in the country at 86%.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of jinx there at the last free throw, but Beecham really improved his free throw percentage this season. Only shot about 55 last year and up towards the 80 marks this season.
There's Travis Weish, senior who had 20 on a good shooting night last time out. He gets tangled up with TJ Gibbs, and it's Irish ball.
And how about it? The freshman coming in, and his length at that guard position forces Weish into a tough shot. You see his square feet the whole time. And a nice play there to force the turnover.
Freshman from Scotch Plains, New Jersey. We talked with Mike Bray earlier today, and he said he does not play like a freshman at all, and he's stopped thinking of TJ Gibbs as a freshman.
Yeah, Notre Dame fans should get ready for him over the next 3 or 4 years. His passing ability, his IQ on the court, absolutely tremendous.
He's playing alongside Matt Farrell now, and it's Farrell tagged with the offensive foul.
Yeah, Farrell just a little, looked like an outreach with the elbow there. That's the reason the ref called that foul, and it'll go the other way.
So here's St. Peter's down by 10 on the road, and they've gone 3.5 minutes without points.
Yeah, with this slow-pace offense, it doesn't give up a lot of points because it takes a lot of clock, but when you don't score, it becomes very dangerous.
Pfluger tried to step in front of Patterson, and now 5 to shoot. Patterson needs somewhere to go. Long 3 for Weish, and Torres the rebounds.
Another great possession there on the perimeter especially.
And Gibbs stepped on the sideline, and it's a Notre Dame turnover.
Yeah, it was a tough play there. Good transition offense. Just, found an open man, but that was after the fact that Gibbs stepped out of bounds.
Quadir Welton checks back in for St. Peter's. He's got 2 of the 4 buckets for the Peacocks.
Yeah, they could use him. For their last 6 are the Peacocks.
And Gibbs trying to walk the tightrope there, hanging on top. And he collapses for a foul.
You got to love the aggression, at least. Even when a point guard or a guard brings the ball up court, you always want to get him uncomfortable. And even though there was a foul, it's not necessarily a horrible foul.
Antoine Portley with some space and a nice adjustment for 2.
Beautiful up and under. And you almost saw the ball getting thrown away, but Gibbs able to corral that one.
Here's Austin Torres, redshirt junior, finds an open Gibbs, and Welton rises up for the board. St. Peter's on the season shooting just 40% on field goals, the worst mark in the conference. 5 for 14 so far tonight. Here's Kevon Baker in off the bench and an offensive foul. Austin Torres drew it.
Yeah, Baker used that screen quite nicely, but Torres was there, and it looked like another extension of the elbow there. See another look here. Torres does a good job not causing any contact, and yeah, it looks like that extension of the elbow from Baker causes that call, and Notre Dame gets the ball back.
Mike Bray goes a little deeper in the bench as Matt Ryan, the sophomore from Cortland Manor, New York, checks in. Very good shooter. And Steve Vastoria returns as well.
And Matt Ryan leads this team in three-point shooting, at least in terms of percentage, second on the team in makes.
Steve Vastoria lets fly. Welton the rebounds. Still waiting for Steve Vastoria to heat up. Combined for just 10 points the last 2 games against Purdue and Colgate.
Yeah, normally when Steve Vastoria plays well, the Irish play very well. That's the case. And he's, maybe not scoring the ball very well, but he's a guy that knows his presence on the court is huge for this team, so he does it in many ways.
Quinn Taylor with the entry for Quadir Welton, who missed the tough shot. And Vastoria starts the Irish.
And Notre Dame just doing a good job putting their hands up. That's all you need to do there. And it's going to force tough shots against Welton. And we've seen now a couple misses in a row. And, now 1 for 8 are the Peacocks for their last 8 attempts. And that's really been because of Notre Dame's defense.
Portley tipped that one out. So it stays with Notre Dame. Rex Pfluger finds Matt Farrell. And Matt Ryan, that is, rather, on the 3. 49% on the season from beyond the arc.
Yeah, and his 26th on the year. That's sophomore. He's obviously a multi-dimensional player, but he can come out and just light teams up. He's done that a couple times this season off the bench.
Kevon Baker stops for 3. No good. Matt Ryan tries to save it right to Welton, who goes up and draws a foul. So Notre Dame doing it a bit from beyond the arc. They've stretched the lead to 11 on a 12-2 run in South Bend. An 11-point Irish lead on St. Peter's. And what a Christmas present it was for Notre Dame point guard Matt Farrell. That's his older brother, Bo Farrell, who surprised him at the end of last Monday's game home early from Afghanistan, and they got to spend the holidays together.
Yeah, those moments always make you tear up. It did at least to me, and we've seen a couple of those over the last couple of years. I know Myers Leonard down at Illinois had a similar experience when he was playing ball in Urbana-Champaign, and it's always nice. I bet it was a great holidays for the Farrell family.
Quadir Welton at the line, missed the front end and misses the second as well. So it goes in the hands of Matt Farrell. The video clip of it was all over every national news program. Matt Farrell and Notre Dame staff, they started to have to turn down media requests for interviews.
Not a bad problem to have. And it deserved to be all over the media. It was a great, effort by both Notre Dame as a university and the basketball team, and of course Bo Farrell.
Now, Bo here with his family tonight, and he'll be at the ACC opener for Notre Dame on Saturday as well, on the way back home in the matchup at Pitt. Bonzi Colson tried to grab the rebound, and it's out of bounds, and it'll stay with St. Peter's.
Yeah, great effort by Colson, although he didn't get the rebound there. Baker and Welton both came crashing in, and well, Bonzi almost had it. He was very close, and he'll stay here for the Peacocks.
Travis Weiss checks back in for St. Peter's, which is just 1 for its last 10 from the floor, scoreless in the last 3 minutes. Vastoria nearly took it away from Antoine Portley. The sophomore gets it back and lobs for Quadir Welton. Working on Colson, and a foul.
Yeah, and that was a great play by Vastoria to poke and knock that ball loose. And again, try to play a little help defense there, but good job by Welton again, just getting deep, very good positioning. And Bonzi definitely brought his hand down there, and that's why a foul was called.
Welton, a 56% foul shooter for the season. Missed his first 2 moments ago, was just 3 of 9 at the line against St. Francis Brooklyn Friday. Had a great game in that win with 17 points and 14 rebounds. 15 career double-doubles for the senior. VJ Beecham off the curl. At the elbow, tough fall away, and Welton the board.
And again, you'll see here the Peacocks setting up in that half-court offense. You got 4 guys on the perimeter right now. You have Welton interchanging here with screens, and this is how this offense works. And when efficient, this team is tough to beat.
Bonzi Colson with those long arms you talked about earlier forces the turnover. And Farrell too quickly ahead, and Steve Vastoria couldn't corral it.
Yeah, Notre Dame maybe a little anxious there, slow pace got him, but forced that turnover. And even though St. Peter's likes to play that slow style, it's a Notre Dame team that can do both. And we've seen that over the last couple of years, especially if you go back to last year's March Madness tournament. They played that style against Wisconsin. The Badgers, of course, a very slow style team in that half court. So they can do both. And so far, so good for the Irish.
And Mike Bray elects to go a little bit bigger here as Martinus Gebbins back in. He's trying to hang with Welton. Here's the kick for Inechionia off target.
Inechionia was very close there. Good look for him. He had that first 3. That was the first points of the game for St. Peter's. Unable to make that one, though.
Matt Farrell with a beautiful find for Martinus Gebbin. And a timeout, St. Peter's.
Beautiful find. The Irish crowd letting them know.
Matt Farrell with the dish, averaging 6 assists on the season. And John Dunn, the head coach for St. Peter's, stopped his team at the shoot-around earlier today, and he said, guys, you can't sleep on Matt Farrell because he can fire off passes very quickly when you're not expecting it.
Yeah, and a key there is, sure, you can't sometimes, the pass is great, and that's Matt Farrell's ability. But sometimes as a defender, you got to get up close on him so he can't see that passing lane.
Look at what Farrell has done this season. Of course, his first year as the full-time starter, ahead of Demetrius Jackson, with Jackson off to the NBA. And Matt Farrell's one of the most improved players in the country.
Oh, no question. He might be the most improved player in the country and has really made this team, this Irish team, back in the mix to win maybe an ACC, more ACC games than they were initially expected to.
It's been a slugfest of a first half. Notre Dame doubling up St. Peter's. Weiss can't hit. And here comes Notre Dame. See Mike Bray on the sideline, wants the Irish to push.
By pushing, you make the St. Peter's seem a little uncomfortable.
Vastoria slips it to Beecham.
And how about that? So Vastoria, who's struggled scoring the ball, drives that one left right at the elbow, able to give off a nice bounce pass to a cutting B.J. Beecham.
Classic Notre Dame offense right there. Off-ball movement and a good find from Steve Vastoria. Quadir Welton with the left hand this time. No, but the follow for Kavon Baker.
Yeah, the Irish got a little, they were caught napping, in other words. Baker, nice job of finding an opening, putting up the offensive rebound.
There's Bonzi Colson averaging nearly 17 points a game to go along with 10 rebounds. Gebbin tries to follow, and Welton clutches it.
A lot of teams have fallen for those pump fakes from Colson, not there. Nicely done by the Peacocks.
Baker stops on a dime and gets it back up top. Fires from long range and comes up short.
It's been a couple of possessions back-to-back now, some good looks. they're just not falling, and that's why they're losing by 12.
Farrell tried to split the double. Weish, the handoff for Anecchionia.
And some fast break offense. We don't see it often from this team, but nicely done there to force the turnover from Farrell and put it up on the other end. About a 3-1 advantage there going down the court.
St. Peter's chipping away. The deficit at 10 as Colson spins with a response.
And again, only 6'5" is what Colson is listed at. But those long arms, that 7'2", 7'3" wingspan, able to put it up over defenders of similar height.
Well, touch foul on the perimeter sends us to a break. About 3.5 to go in the first half. It's been slow paced, but Notre Dame's up by 12. Farrell to Martin Iskebin. Pavilion in South Bend. Hasn't been an offensive clinic. It usually is for Mike Bray's Notre Dame team. They've already turned it over 7 times.
Yeah, the shooting percentage is great at 58%, but that 7 turnovers right there, not so good. Of course, you see there they lead the nation in fewest turnovers per game. Also, their assist-to-turnover ratio is also number 1 in the country. So a little iffy here. They had 14 turnovers against Colgate as well, so now maybe time to flip things around. That's definitely what Bray wants.
And the bulk of those turnovers the last time out, you mentioned the Colgate game last Monday. Bulk of those in the first half. Similar story so far here.
There you see the percentages are in favor of Notre Dame, but just a 12-point game.
Nick Griffin is an excellent three-point shooter, and he cashes in to get it down to single digits.
Yeah, this is a Peacocks team that's just shooting 33% from the floor right now, 2 of 10 from deep. Notre Dame with 58% from the floor. Just a 9-point game, and those turnovers have a lot to do with it.
TJ Gibbs off to Steve Vastoria. And that's a kick off the foot of Nick Griffin.
A little hesitation there trying to get the ball down low. Of course, it was a violation, so nothing wrong done by the Irish, but offense is not clicking as much.
There's an easy 2 at the rim for Rex Pfluger off the inbounds.
Yeah, and it's just as I said that, Pfluger wide open underneath, beautiful cut. And when he is efficient on offense, which he's been all season, he's a game changer because of his defensive ability and has really shown up in many games this season in his sophomore year.
Portley around the screen. Now Quadir Welton spinning on Torres. That's a tough off-balance shot. No rim. Shot clock doesn't reset. Portley throws it up, and it's a shot clock violation.
And great job by Torres here right at the end. You see so many times, especially in the professional leagues now, such as the NBA, when a guy pump fakes, you start to hesitate, you jump up in the air. All Torres did was put his hands up in the air and force that tough shot. And, of course, no call there on the foul, which was rightly done by the referees.
So 2 minutes to go until halftime. An 11-point cushion. Steve Vastoria jacks and connects.
And a great sign for Notre Dame to get Vastoria right there. Just a catch and shoot in a simple matter. Nice play there from the Irish.
Yeah, the seniors a rock for Notre Dame, but just 10 points combined the last 2 games. Mike Bray felt good about his last few days of practice. Quadir Welton spins into a double, dishes off for Quinn Taylor.
And you love the effort from Notre Dame to put a double team, but Welton is not just a scorer. He sees the man underneath the basket, able to put that one up.
And Taylor with a rebound off the Beecham miss. So St. Peter's down by 12, final minute coming up, and a chance to close strong for the Peacocks. Portley to an open Quinn Taylor. And he'll hear it from the Notre Dame crowd, but he atones for his mistake and picks it off.
And that was the first turnover for Pfluger on the season. An uncharacteristic one, of course.
In his 219th minute this season on the court. How about that? Portley, tough shot working on Pfluger, and it drops.
And a big swing of events right there. A Pfluger turnover off a nice defensive possession turns into an offensive bucket.
And Mike Bray takes a timeout with about 34 seconds left until halftime. So Notre Dame up by 10, and B.J. Beacham has 12 for the Irish on 4 of 8 shooting, and he started to heat up these last couple of games.
He certainly has, but for Notre Dame right now, a 10-point game, they've dropped off a little. Make him a more, component of this offense. He really hasn't been a huge presence the last 10 minutes of this first half. We certainly know he can light it up, and I assume, going into halftime, especially in the locker room, they'll make sure he comes out with that same aggression he did in the first half to start the second 20 minutes.
Bonzie Colson, Matt Farrell return for these final 34 seconds. Notre Dame shooting it at 59%, but it's been that slower pace that St. Peter's wants.
And even with that slower pace, St. Peter's has taken 6 more shots, which is another reason this is only a 10-point game.
Ten to shoot for Bonzie Colson. In traffic, back iron, and the rebound to St. Peter's. Antoine Portley with speed at Beacham, who blocks it.
And Beacham can do it all right there. A nice defensive play. The clock winding down last 5 seconds. And folks, he's not just a three-point shooter, not just an offensive talented player. His athleticism and his blocking ability has certainly been on presence these last 2 seasons.
So 3.7 seconds until halftime. Into Nick Griffin. Off the shot fake. And off target to close out the first half.
That was a nice look for Griffin right at the end. The Irish will head into the locker room with that 10-point lead. Maybe not what they want exactly. If you look at the statistics in terms of shooting, all things going for them. If you're Coach Dunn on the other side, you're pretty happy where you're at.
John Dunn and his St. Peter's squad down by 10 to number 24, Notre Dame at the half. We'll be back in a moment with highlights and reaction. Campus, beautiful night in South Bend, Indiana at the end of 2016 as we get set to start the second half between number 24 Notre Dame and St. Peter's with the Irish up by 10. ACC play starts on Saturday. Notre Dame picked to finish 7th in the preseason poll. Nick, where do you feel about where Notre Dame is heading into the conference season?
Well, I think a lot of people are surprised how well they've played in certain spots. Now, they have lost to the two teams that have been ranked, so they're 0-2 in that term. But they're a very good team. You see the talent and the depth. This might be one of the most deep teams that Mike Brey has ever had at Notre Dame. And so right around that 7th spot, they might want to move up a little bit even further. But the ACC, of course, one of the best college conferences in any sports, particularly basketball.
Notre Dame travels to Pitt on Saturday, New Year's Eve day, and then host Louisville a week from today. Mike Brey started this year in the preseason talking about simply gaining access, as he called it, to the NCAA tournament. They played really well in losses to Villanova and Purdue, and maybe Notre Dame is in a league in the ACC that could get as many as 9 or 10 teams.
Yeah, and Mike Brey's done a tremendous job. You see his program as a whole this season, how he progresses players. A lot of these players, Vastoria, Beacham, 4-year players. Now you're seeing Farrell take that extra step this season. And Bonzie Colson, who's averaging a double-double this year, taking that next step and is in consideration for many awards. Of course, we have a lot of basketball left to play, but as a team, this Notre Dame team is fearless, and they are ready for anything, especially the ACC gauntlet.
So it's Notre Dame by 10 to start the second half. Starters on the floor for the Irish. St. Peter's, meanwhile, down by 10 on the road. They throw Antoine Portley into the starting group to begin the second stanza.
And you saw those field goal percentage numbers. If you saw those, you'd expect a 20-point game right now. But just a 10-point game so far, the Irish with that lead.
Bonzie Colson back iron. And here comes St. Peter's for the first time out of the break. Just 10 made field goals, 33% shooting in the first half. Travis Weish off to Chaz Patterson, and now into the post. Quadir Welton gets it back. He had 5 and 5 in the first half, and it's too strong.
Yeah, good job by Gebben there. An uncharacteristic miss from Welton down low, but that's what St. Peter's wants. They want to get him a lot of space down low. You saw no double teams. Just wasn't able to finish.
Steve Vastoria off the curl with his second made triple.
Yeah, that's 2 times now, Mike. We've seen Vastoria off a curl, coming, catching the ball, and releasing it almost in the same process. Two nice baskets, and he's starting to get that groove back, especially from deep.
Senior averaging nearly 15 points a game. A rock in the lineup for Mike Bray. And the head coach very pleased with Vastoria's progress the last few days. Colson corrals the miss. Matt Farrell steps into a three. And a quick timeout, St. Peter's.
You're starting to see the efficiency, this sense of let's go. You know, coming out of the first half, they are on fire here to start the second.
Matt Farrell from downtown for the Irish. Then Matt Farrell on consecutive possessions, and the Irish lead is up to 16.
Yeah, sense of urgency right out of the gate on that last one. You saw Bonzi get the rebound. So nice to have a forward be able to bring the ball up. And even though it was a half-court set, a sense of urgency from both Beecham and then, of course, Farrell to hit that three. That's why they got this 16-point lead now.
Notre Dame 6 of 11 from beyond the arc as Gavin swats Weish.
Gavin saw that one coming, and he decided to go swat that one. A beautiful play from the junior. Take another look at this one. He sees it, and that's not happening in his house.
Kevin goes body to body with Quadir Welton, and Kevin rescues it on the baseline.
He's doing it on the defensive side to start things off in this second half.
Farrell bounces back for Bonzi Colson.
You're seeing a lot of things look similar on offense, but it's just the sense of urgency that the team is playing with. They're getting back more comfortable now. That's why they're off to this 8-0 run to start the second half.
St. Peter's looking for a response. Weish flips it back for Welton, who missed the bunny.
He's going to regret that one, but a beautiful play by Welton to set that one up. Dished it off to his guard, got it back, and had an open layup. He just got to finish those.
Farrell probing, and it's off Martinez Gebben, and a 9th Notre Dame turnover.
Yeah, and it's been an uncharacteristic 3 turnovers for Farrell, who on the season has a 3-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio. And I know he struggled a little bit with turnovers against Colgate as well, just a little jittery right there. You still like him being aggressive, however, and you know he'll get back to his old ways sooner than later.
It bears repeating, Notre Dame first nationally in fewest turnovers per game at 8.8. Nnamdi Enechionyo with his second triple, and he's got 8 for St. Peter's.
And he was wide open. Why not take it? He's got a nice stroke as well. Able to put that one in the back of the net.
Nnamdi's brother Obi, of course, the star at Temple. First points for St. Peter's since halftime. Beecham on the baseline, threw it up. Gebben follows, and the loose ball to Welton.
You still like that possession. Beecham doing a good job getting inside. Gebben can't finish the offensive rebound, but nice play overall. Those things will, once the season gets deeper and deeper, you'll make those plays.
Antoine Portley, who came off the bench, bounces for Quadir Welton. 8 to shoot, and Welton sends it back out to Travis Weish. Weish kicks it out, and it's a shot clock violation.
And even there, a small part of that play was where Welton got the ball at the low post, and Vastoria just makes a little jab at the ball, knocks it loose, and it forces Welton out of his position. And that's why you saw that possession kind of just unraveled towards the end. And credit Vastoria there with that little just jab, forced a loose ball, and that's eventually what led to the shot clock violation.
There are the numbers we showed you earlier. Notre Dame has already turned it over 9 times. Shooting 55% tonight. That's part of the reason. Still just a 15-point game. Beecham draws a foul on the floor on Sam Idowu. So Notre Dame with a fast start in the second half, up by 15. Notre Dame with some sharp shooting early second half, up by 15 on St. Peter's. Nick, we got to outlaw the dab. That's my New Year's resolution.
Why not? But hey, happy Irish fans, and they should be. Good start to the second half. You saw Seminoles shirt in the back there. They won their first ACC game. ACC play starting today, of course. But yeah, dab, no longer please in 2017.
A few more days. Get him in while you can. Notre Dame out of the timeout with a fast start in this second half. An 8-0 run before the Anecchionia 3. Matt Farrell lobs back for B.J. Beecham. Gets Patterson in the air and drifts to the bucket.
And that's what he's worked on so well this offseason. He's a shooter, right? We know he's got a great stroke, but that hesitation, that little up and under move, beautiful play by Beecham, and that's why he is as good as he is, and that's why he, as many accolades as he has been mentioned for this season.
Beecham, of course, tested the NBA draft waters, but elected to return for his senior season in South Bend. Now 8 to shoot for Travis Weish. Off to Nick Griffin. On the drive and off glass.
Nice play by Griffin to get that ball and see an opening and attack it. A little kiss off the glass. And that's, you know, St. Peter's has not had a lot of inside baskets to start the second half, which you would assume with Welton.
Bonzie Colson short on the elbow jumper. And we've talked about it coming into this game, and we talked about it with the head coach for St. Peter's, John Dunn, earlier today. He feels like they can be a good offensive team when they share the ball. They have the talent, but they haven't put it together consistently offensively.
Yeah, and you've seen many times if they can make the shots they're taking, which not a lot of them are too difficult. You see a nice play here to get that basket. But a lot of their plays also needed the extra pass, and we haven't seen a lot of that today, and a reason why they've taken a lot of difficult shots.
First points for Sam Idowu, the sophomore from Brooklyn. Colson calling for it, and he gets it from Rex Pfluger. Bonzie Colson working on Idowu. Farrell, cross-court find Vastoria. 4 to shoot, and the little jumper for Steve Vastoria.
And if you ever doubted the Irish could run a half-court set, slow the pace down, that was a perfect example. Credit the inside presence of Idowu to force the ball out to the perimeter, but a beautiful play from Farrell and Vastoria to finish that one off.
Here's Weish, who's been quiet. Just 2 points on an average of 10 a game. Nick Griffin with another 3.
And they need his shooting to get back into this one. Griffin now with 2 long balls.
And the George Washington transfer making his first start of the season. Colson goes to work on Idowu and spins it in.
Nice little touch from Colson. You see Idowu's hand is right up in his grill, but it doesn't matter. Colson able to finish that one beautifully, even with the size disadvantage.
Colson with a hard hedge on Weish, trying to break down Matt Farrell. Eight to shoot. Weish into the paint. And now Anecchionia passed up a good look. Idowu way too strong, but Patterson skies for the offensive board. And then a turnover. Beecham to Vastoria.
Yeah, and there were 2 separate times right there on that offensive possession for St. Peter's where they did one pass too many. And I mentioned that extra pass might be, open things up, and it did. There were 2 good looks, and unfortunately it led to Idowu with a 3-point shot, which they could have avoided.
Weish with a tough 2 off target. And Notre Dame wants to run. Beecham's feeling it. Colson follows, and open Matt Farrell. And a good block out by Nick Griffin.
Yeah, 2 good looks, just can't get him to go. They are still shooting very well, 56% from the field.
Weish dishes to Nick Griffin. He can't connect. And a loose ball foul on the rebounding action. So it sends us to a timeout with about 11 and a half to go in the second half. Notre Dame by 16. Notre Dame leads St. Peter's by 16, approaching the midway point in the second half. Mike Monaco, Nick Valdesari with you. Foul before the break was on Chaz Patterson, his first for St. Peter's. Mike Bray to the bench, TJ Gibbs and Matt Ryan in for the Irish, along with Austin Torres.
I thought Gibbs did a good job in that first half. Didn't score, but 2 assists. Nice defensive effort at length of his very, very nice to have at the guard position.
Rex Pfluger with his second turnover tonight. Hadn't turned it over through the first 12 games of the season coming in.
Another uncharacteristic one. Nice play by St. Peter's. Step up, grab that one.
Welton with a handoff for Antoine Portley, who had a great freshman year last year, an all-conference player coming off the bench tonight. Welton back for Chaz Patterson. The bounce for Welton. One more to Quinn Taylor.
And Welton again doing it all as a big man. How about that little look-off pass? Curled it right to an open cutting man. That is very nice to have as, you know, your big man down low, who's obviously, as we know, very good in scoring on the block, but able to have that passing ability.
And that's the sort of ball movement that John Dunn's talking about. VJ Beecham lets fly, around and out, and a foul on Matt Ryan.
And so as you alluded to earlier, Mike, there is so much of this St. Peter's offense that is desired. They have so many good skill positions. It's just the shooting ability and maybe those extra passes they need to look for. And of course, it's so nice to have a good defense from the beginning of a season. It's the offense that eventually gets better and better. That's not a bad problem to have.
St. Peter's was picked to finish 4th out of the 11 teams in the Metro Atlantic in the preseason poll, behind Monmouth, Siena, and Iona. John Dunn feels like he's got a good squad heading back into conference play. Gibbs straight away. And over to Steve Vastoria, who just checked back in. Torres whips one to Matt Ryan. And Portley the rebounds. And Gibbs pries it away and draws a foul.
And great alertness from Gibbs. You just love his tenacity, his aggressiveness as a freshman. And, you know, it's not necessarily that past freshmen have struggled under Mike Bray's system, but Gibbs has come in here and just been, like Mike Bray said, not a freshman player. He's been fully aggressive, and defense is where it all starts with a young player in any system, and he's showing that on full effect tonight.
TJ, of course, following his brothers Ashton and Sterling to the high Division I ranks. This will stay with Notre Dame midway through the shot clock.
Yeah, Notre Dame facing off against Ashton, his older brother's former team, Pittsburgh, on New Year's Eve. So maybe a little family rivalry in the midst.
Quinn Taylor stepped in front of Astoria. Gibbs into the paint, back out for Rex Pfluger. And Torres and Portley jockey, and it goes to St. Peter's.
Yeah, St. Peter's done a good job of only letting the Irish have one opportunity. And that comes down with the defensive rebounding, and it's certainly been the case in the last, as you see there, 3 minutes.
St. Peter's still hanging around with a deficit at 14. Quinn Taylor, the freshman from Texas, drives, 2 and a foul.
Beautiful play by Taylor. Puts his head down, drives inside the lane, puts it over the defenders, and, of course, draws the foul. The hoop plus the harm, as they say.
Foul on Matt Ryan for the Irish, and a shot at a three-point play for Quinn Taylor. He's 8 of 13 at the stripe so far. And it's down to 11.
Yeah, you don't mind having your freshman come in, give you some nice minutes off the bench. And it's so nice with a veteran team like St. Peter's to have a guy that's younger to not only learn but also be a part of the team.
Gibbs in traffic with a response.
So freshman and freshman going back at it.
Here's Kevon Baker. St. Peter's the 4th stop for Kevon Baker, who started his career at Florida Atlantic, went to junior college in Texas, and at Houston. Nick Griffin is fouled on the shot by Matt Farrell. 5 on the shot clock.
And that's just a shooter's mentality right there. Nice play by Griffin to draw that foul. We'll head to the line to shoot 2.
Third foul on Matt Farrell. And Matt Ryan just went to the bench for Notre Dame with his 3rd. So here's Nick Griffin, who spent his first couple of seasons at George Washington. He was on that NCAA tournament team as a freshman. Had to sit out last year at St. Peter's, and now supplying 9 points off the bench.
If Griffin can make this free throw, and as he does, now it's an 11-point game, back to an 11-point game. Of course, if you're Mike Brave for Notre Dame, you like the game pressure in any game. You learn from it. But this is a game that's still very much up in the air. A couple shots here and there could sway it to an even closer game. There's under 8 minutes now. We're at that mark where you can separate yourself if you're the Irish.
Taylor nearly forced the steal on the pass to Colson, and a foul.
And that defense in full effect once again, forcing yet another turnover. And they have a chance to pull this lead, this deficit rather, under 10.
Less than 8 to go. Notre Dame up by 11 on St. Peter's. This is only an 11-point deficit for the Peacocks with about 8 minutes to go in the second half.
Yeah, 2 Metro Atlantic teams giving ACC a little heads up. Of course, Monmouth playing North Carolina today, and that's a close game, at least was in the first half.
John Dunn in his 11th season at St. Peter's. Look, they've knocked off Power 5 teams before. He's built a strong program there in Jersey City. They went to the NCAA tournament in 2011, and this perhaps the most talented and most experienced team since then.
Certainly, and you love the fact that this is one of the most stabilized programs, especially in the Metro Atlantic. 11 years under Dunn, you know what you're getting, and this team just keeps getting better. His teams, rather, keep getting better and better each year.
And on a night when Quadir Welton and Travis Weish have only combined for 7 points, St. Peter's still within striking distance. Welton on the block. Quinn Taylor, the freshman, he's played well. That's a strong drive at Colson, but Kevin clears it.
Yeah, nice play by Taylor. Just could not finish. Colson's 7'2" wingspan in full effect once again.
Same matchup, other side. Gebben on Welton. Nearly turned it over. Beecham with the pull-up. Around and out.
And again, the one opportunity is what the Irish are getting. Good job by St. Peter's on the defensive glass.
St. Peter's has only shot 35%, but they've held Notre Dame quiet the last few minutes. Here's Kevon Baker with 10 to shoot. Travis Weish lets fly. That's off target. Taylor rips it down. Couldn't finish.
Yeah, tough play there. Again, Taylor making a play, just could not get it to go.
Steve Vastoria. Just out of the reach of Welton. Beecham draws a foul.
Good heads-up play by Beecham there. And if you're Vastoria, it's not necessarily a bad shot. You trust Vastoria to make the right play. But maybe you want to set your offense up a little more. It's a little deep of a 3 there. Beecham able to make up for it, though, and will head to the line.
Beecham at 14 points. He had 12 of those in the first half. And an excellent free throw shooter at 83%. Antoine Portley back in for Kevon Baker. So the Irish lead back up to 13 with 6.5 left.
And of course, St. Peter's not used to maybe that up-tempo style, but you might need to get into that a little bit if you want to get back into this game. It's hard to take 30-second possessions every time out. Might want to get out on the floor a little bit more.
Quinn Taylor in the corner. 8 to shoot. Antoine Portley for 3.
And a big one from Portley. A big one indeed. A 10-point game now. This game is still lingering. It's up for grabs.
A big one as St. Peter's was 4 for 19 from beyond the arc.
And this is a Notre Dame team that scores nearly 85 plus points a game. St. Peter's held them today.
Beecham hangs in the air for 2.
Again, you can't say it enough. He's become a complete player, especially over the last year and a half. Another nice floater from VJ Beecham, showing off that touch.
And the pace there to stay in control in the air. 18, a game high for the senior from Fort Wayne. 8 to shoot. Travis Weish to the baseline for Quadir Welton. 2 to shoot. Nick Griffin tries and connects.
Back-to-back 3 balls for the Peacocks. It's a 9-point game. It hasn't been under 10 very often tonight. Now under 5 minutes. Again, this game is up for grabs.
First time it's been in single digits since the final few minutes of the first half. Over the top to Matt Farrell. He can't answer, and Quinn Taylor the rebounds. 4.5 to go, and here comes St. Peter's, down by 9. Griffin's got 13. Welton, 7 to shoot. Weish hiding behind the screen, spinning into the paint, can't get it to go. Gebbins saves it on the baseline. And a foul on Weish, and John Dunn can't believe that foul from his senior.
Yeah, tough play. I think just a frustration foul. You saw Weish so close to making that basket. He had a beautiful move to get down low. Just couldn't finish it off. And there you see Farrell got loose, and certainly a clear foul right there.
Our officiating crew goes to the monitor here for another look. Tony Green, Joe Lindsay, and Ed Corbett. We'll see what they say about a clear path foul here with 4:05 to go.
Yeah, it would be tough to call it that because so many players were already in the other half. Maybe intentional foul. It's tough to say, but it certainly was on purpose, and it didn't really look like a basketball play. Maybe they're looking at that as well.
So they'll call a flagrant 1 foul on Travis Weish on his second personal.
And I think that's why, because it wasn't a basketball play, it wasn't a jab towards the ball. That's why you're seeing a flagrant 1 being called, at least discussed. That would be the certain criteria for it.
Well, they're still conferring. We'll see if they do in fact say that's the case. Right now, 9-point margin. Notre Dame up on St. Peter's.
And while it doesn't look like a basketball play, sometimes it's nice to stop the break. And maybe that's what he was trying to do there, Weish, but of course was a little unnecessary as well.
So as expected, it is a flagrant 1 foul. So 2 shots coming here for Matt Farrell for Notre Dame. And then the Irish will have it on the sideline.
Yeah, and I think it's especially a flagrant 1 because of the unnecessary play right there. It was a frustration foul, in other words. That's what sends Farrell to the line.
And Matt Farrell had made 31 free throws in a row. And it had been perfect on the season before that miss and that make.
You know how flagrant 1s work. They will get the ball inbounds here as well. So just over 4 minutes left. This game still just a 10-point game. And there you see Farrell's impressive stats on the season. He struggled a little bit today, but you certainly can't fault him for his effort day in and day out.
So Notre Dame trying to create some more breathing room. Bonzie Colson bangs with Quadir Welton and hits.
You sometimes don't know how he does it, but it's beautiful. All baskets are created equal in that sense. Maybe not created, but they all count for the same. That was beautifully done by Colson once again.
Welton, who's scoreless since halftime, 5 in the first half. Nick Griffin tries again and comes up short. Farrell down the lane. Now Beecham with the step through and an offensive foul, no basket.
That's a tough play. Beecham did a great job of conniving through defense there. Split a couple defenders. Unfortunately, an offensive foul here taken by Taylor. Tough play.
The lead's at 12 for Notre Dame. With the Rock down by 12 against the number 24 team in the country. This is Travis Weish. Now Antoine Portley, tough two, spins out, and Beecham's got it.
Yeah, great rebound by Beecham. It's a tough play. You like the shot from Portley. He's got the ability to make it. But now with just under 3 minutes left, those chances are starting to dwindle.
Matt Farrell nearly committed his 4th turnover, but the Irish save it. Now Farrell drives and does turn it over. St. Peter's needs to go in a hurry offensively, shooting just 34%. Weish to the basket, and he'll shoot 2.
And while it's still a 12-point game, could be potentially a 10-point game, you got to love how St. Peter's has gotten to this point. They're down by 12. They're playing a top 25 team, and they've done it through their style. They're not shooting the ball well. They're only shooting 34%, but that's what they've done all season. And Notre Dame's shooting 50%, which is what they've done all season. It's still, to have such a close game, you got to credit their defense. And this is how they will win many games in that Metro Atlantic Conference.
TJ Gibbs back for Matt Farrell here. And the game still not out of reach. Weish, a 73% foul shooter, connects on both. So the deficit at 10 with 2:20 left. Weish hounding TJ Gibbs. The freshman trying to find Bonzi Colson. Welton couldn't save it along the sideline.
And Notre Dame is certainly not, they're very familiar with these type of games. Of course, the ACC is scrappy in its own right, but the old Big East is where these type of games, defensive battles really happen. That's where Mike Bray's been able to coach his teams up like this.
Vastoria into Colson, and it's blocked from behind by Welton.
A great defensive play again. It hasn't been pretty for either offense in many ways, but still both teams battling so hard. It's nice to see the effort.
Gibbs uses the backcourt. 6 to shoot. Rex Pfluger to VJ Beecham. Off the mark, and Welton's got it. 10-point game.
Yeah, this is a time to go if you're St. Peter's. Get a quick basket.
Travis Weish. Nick Griffin's got a team-high 13 points, and he turns it over. Rex Pfluger to the basket.
Beautifully done by Pfluger, and he's been so good in transition. Of course, a wide-open layup there, but just to even create that by the steal, and that's a big-time steal. Could be a deflator.
Portley stops and pops and connects, and a quick timeout for St. Peter's with the lead trimmed back to 10.
Yeah, nice play by Portley. Get him back to that 10-point margin. See if they can draw something up defensively now.
Mentioned the road ahead for Notre Dame. The Irish kick off ACC play on Saturday, New Year's Eve day, with the trip to Pittsburgh, and then back at home a week from today to host Louisville. That is not an easy start in the ACC for Mike Bray's Irish.
Not at all. I mean, of course, you have Pittsburgh, Louisville, the two Big East teams they used to play in that conference, and then Clemson and Miami, both teams, Clemson especially a team that maybe is a little underlooked this season, and Miami, Virginia Tech, and I believe after that's even Florida State, so it never gets easier for this team.
That's a good Clemson team that recently knocked off South Carolina and has a big lead on a very good UNC Wilmington team tonight. Ten-point game. The Irish break the pressure, and a foul on Travis Weish.
Yeah, well done. That didn't take Very much time to break down. Ryan doing a good job of getting the ball towards the front court there in their half court.
That's the 6th team foul on St. Peter's. The next one sends the Irish to the 1-1. And there's the foul, and TJ Gibbs will shoot the 1-1 for the Irish. Mentioned it earlier, Notre Dame, the best free throw shooting team in the country at 85.6%. Gibbs, 75% in his own right. And Mike Bray will go to the bench here. And a couple of freshmen checking in. John Mooney, 33, the true freshman from Orlando. And Elijah Burns, the redshirt freshman from Troy, New York. 12 in the white.
And I like this. It's still an important last minute and 8 seconds. Mike Bray trusting his freshmen, getting them that game pressure experience. And well done by Gibbs to knock down 2 free throws there coming in for Matt Farrell. And Gibbs continues to impress the Irish faithful.
Notre Dame flashes a zone look at St. Peter's. Portley misfires, and Beacham's got it. Final minute in South Bend with Notre Dame up by 12 on a night where by no means were the Irish perfect. It didn't come easily. It seemed like maybe things just that tick off all evening long, but they'll walk into ACC play at 11-2.
Right, and that was what I was trying to allude to earlier. That identity they had in the Big East was that grind, grit and grind, and they've been able to grind this game out and even adhere to the St. Peter's style of play, which is that slow down, getting your half-court offense. And like you said, Mike, it hasn't been pretty, but the shooting touch that they've had all night long, up to 49% now, that's the reason they have this lead. And that's something they've done all season and under Mike Bray.
VJ Beacham exits to applause with a game-high 18 points as Rex Pfluger replaces him. And TJ Gibbs misses the second end of the 1-1. Nick Griffin with his 4th three-pointer tonight. He's got 16, 10-point game. Timeout, John Dunn.
Yeah, just trying to keep him alive. Don't mind the quick timeout after a nice spot-up 3 from Griffin. Because right out of this timeout, we want to set up, of course, the press. And you want to make sure it's right. Because if you can get a turnover in this possession, maybe there's a chance to hit another basket. But, you know, once 10 more seconds or 15 more seconds wind off, that'll do the game.
Well, and the question when you're playing against Notre Dame in these situations typically, and not all these guys on the floor right now for the Irish, but who do you foul? Because Notre Dame, like we said, the best team in the country at the line.
Right, and you see that 69% tonight. They're 9 of 13. An uncharacteristic night, too. They haven't gotten to the line as much as they're accustomed to, but still, you have so many weapons on that charity stripe, and it has become one of their greatest weapons. And like you said, Mike, it's tough to choose who you want to foul. It's kind of pick your poison in many terms.
So St. Peter's is down by 10. Mentioned St. Peter's actually already has had a couple of conference games back in early December. They lost to Iona, very good team in the Metro Atlantic, and then had a win over Manhattan, both at home. Well, they get back into conference play Monday, and St. Peter's is back home in Jersey City to host Monmouth.
It's a very, very underrated, maybe underlooked Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference. Of course, remember Monmouth, who was so good last year, actually knocked off the Irish. We're unable to get an at-large bid for the tournament.
Matt Ryan turns it over. Chaz Patterson took it away. Now Patterson in the corner. 30 seconds left. This is Antoine Portley. Patterson with the save on the sideline. Driving on Mooney. Will it count? And I believe the foul's on the floor.
Yeah, and I think that would be the 17th foul on the Irish. So we'll send them the end 1-1, but crazy possession there. And that's your worst nightmare if you're Mike Bray, to turn that ball over on the inbounds.
Well, it's Burns, Gibbs, Ryan, Pfluger, and Mooney, the 5 on the floor for the Irish. Now 21 and a half seconds left, but single digits. Jazz Patterson, the redshirt senior from New Jersey, an 83% foul shooter, and he's got it down to 8.
St. Peter's with no timeout, so they can't set up in a timeout, but they've been able to maneuver here.
John Mooney on the sideline, needs an outlet, and he throws it ahead to Elijah Burns, and that seals it for Notre Dame.
I think, as you said, Mike, it wasn't pretty at all times, but a win is a win in one of these grit-out type of games. They played well offensively in terms of shooting the ball. That's always a plus. The turnovers are what they're going to have to work on heading into the ACC play.
Strong showing on the road for St. Peter's. The Peacocks, though, dropped to 5-7, heading back into Metro Atlantic play. And look, Notre Dame's 11-2 with just losses to Villanova and Purdue, heading into ACC play Saturday against Pitt. So that does it here in South Bend. For our producer, Nathan Bush, our entire crew behind the scenes, for my partner, Nick Valdesari, Mike Monaco saying so long from South Bend, where the final score is Notre Dame 63, St. Peter's 55. To watch this entire game on replay, as well as other games on our family of ESPN networks, log on to watchespn.com or download the Watch ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.